I got to give Kyle Shanahan a lot of credit, because if I had a player yelling at me on the sidelines when I'm trying to coach a game, I would have knocked the guy out. I would have just friggin' knocked him out, because I don't care who you think you are. I'm the coach of the team. And when I tell you to get in the game, you get in the friggin' game. You don't tell me, well, I'm not playing. I'm not doing this. That's a baby antic. You're a professional football player. You're playing for a 49er team that went to a Super Bowl last year. And yes, the team is not as good as it was last year, obviously because of the injuries, because it's just bad luck. Nevertheless, when your coach tells you to get in, get the freak in the game. But obviously, there's a lot more behind it. I'm sure we're going to hear a little bit more about it as the season progressively comes to an end for the 49ers. It looks like it's almost over. I don't think the 49ers are making the playoffs unless some crazy thing happens in the NFC. But what happened to Dre Greenlaw is it's just horrible. I mean, this guy, freakish accident. I think it was in the second quarter. Yep. He's about to get on the field, just run on the field, and he just falls to the ground. And then he gets carted off the field. And I'm like, what? And then you find out at the end of the game, he tears his Achilles. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Greenlaw did not get hurt in that game, I think the 49ers win the game. I mean, he is so important to that defense. As a linebacker, he's like a linebacker safety. You can use him in so many ways, especially against the tight ends. Travis Kelce, he's that kind of guy that you could put him on Travis Kelce. He'll challenge Travis Kelce to go up there and get the ball. I mean, losing Dre Greenlaw was just a crazy, crazy loss in the Super Bowl. And then to lose him in his first game back, he's been out all season long. He comes back from his Achilles. He worked his way back in, and then he's out. He's out like a light. He could be out for the rest of the season once again. I mean, it's horrible to see a player of that magnitude fall down the way he has. It's horrible to see what's happened to the 49ers. They, again, going back, a lot of people, and I spoke to Owen Offset before the show, and not actually before the show last week, and I asked him what happened to the 49ers, and he said, well, the injuries, and he said the one thing that really stood out is that this team in the beginning of the season didn't have Christian McCaffrey for a significant amount of time. Christian McCaffrey was the offensive player of the year last year and was an MVP candidate. You didn't have him for 8 games. He comes back. He's not the same guy. And this team, once he came back, you had Brandon Ayuk fall. You had this guy fall, that guy fall. It doesn't work. It's unfortunate what happened. And as far as Campbell's concerned, he's never going to get another job in the NFL. There's no way anybody's going to take this kid on their team, especially not being a team player, yelling at the coach on the sideline. The cameras were on him. At the end of the game, you saw the videos that were posting up. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing what happened. But, it's definitely not a good look for the 49ers organization.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of ways to look at it. First of all, it's selfish. Second of all, it's immature. Third of all, it's unprofessional. I can keep going on. And Errol, I was with you. Like, I didn't know what was going on. And I mean, you see every once in a while there's, a tiff between a coach and a player. Like, that's not anything crazy. So I didn't really understand. But like when you get guys, like you said, Speedy, like causing a cancer and whatever, and Kittle even came out and said afterwards, he's like, I hope I never am on the field with somebody that does that ever again. And he's right. And if you're not in it to win it and sacrifice what we all have, and you're just going to give up on us, I think it's BS. And I think there's probably other, and we kind of touched on this, off air of, his contract and not allowing him. Like, you know what? Okay, cut him, let him go to another team and be like, see, this is why we got rid of him. You deal with it now. And are you really going to bitch and moan over $1.5 million to close to $2 million when it's like, okay, just get rid of it. Just let him move on. You guys move on. It's all done. And then now you talk to the other GM and he's like, well, what'd you think? And we haven't seen it, but maybe it's kind of festered and, it just came to a head. I doubt we'll ever hear anything from him again about the issue. I think the team will have to touch on it a little bit more, but I don't think it'll be that big of an issue just because of the situation that the 49ers are in. So I think it might I wouldn't say get pushed under the rug, but not be at the forefront of, kind of what everybody's talking about.
I mean, obviously how selfish a player can be. That's with all the 49ers are going through. Christian McCaffrey's obviously his whole ordeal. But then you have Chartavius Ward coming out and saying, like, hey, my 1-year-old just passed away. I have to show up to work. I have to come to practice. I have to do all these things. Trent Williams just lost a kid. Like, their whole team is going through something. And for him to be like, hey, I'm not going to play as much because an all-pro linebacker is coming back, so I'm going to take my ball and go home. It's just wild. Like, it just kind of sums up the 49ers season all in one little display of his selfishness. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot of offseason stuff that comes out with the 49ers. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and says an apology and he was wrong and a team takes a flyer on him, because he's not a terrible player. And always some organization will take a chance on these guys to give
the
them
Jets. The Jets.
Yeah, like a revamped.
He'll go to the
stuff.
Jets. Yeah.
I don't know. It just was a very selfish move on a team that didn't need that at the time. Like I said, 2 players just lost kids, and he's just going to throw a hissy fit and walk off the field. It's just ridiculous. And I don't think you should see the NFL ever again.